Hello, this is David Murphy from the national publisher of the National Black Unity News. And we want to welcome you to, first of all, to a brand new year and a brand new podcast.
That's right.
And I have my soldiers in arms right next to me, left and right, Brother Henri Hector.
What's going on, everybody?
And Brother Satari Jahi. And
Good evening.
These two brothers are soldiers, and what we do, ladies and gentlemen, is bring forth information that can enhance your quality of life. But one thing we do, we keep it real. And so if you want to chime in, there will be an opportunity for you to do so. But this is a recording, and it will be edited for for mass production. But again, we welcome everyone who's chiming in or will chime in to the National Black Unity News podcast. And with that being said, I want to introduce my brother, Soldier. And he has a battle squad to prove it as well, Mr. Satari Jahi.
All right.
Our reading for today, January the 6th. Daily Motivations for African American Success. I think I'll pass. Quote, in the darkest moments, I can still find peace, unquote. Marian Anderson, opera star. Long ago, a king plagued by many worries, harassed on every side, called his wise men together. He asked them to invent a motto, a few magic words that would help him in time of trial or distress. It must be brief enough to be engraved on a ring, he instructed, so I can see it every day. It must be appropriate to every situation, as useful in prosperity as in adversity. It must be a motto wise and true and endlessly enduring, words by which a person could be guided for his or her life in every circumstance, no matter what happens. Wise men thought and finally came to the monarch with their magic words. These were words for every change or chance of fortune, declared the wise men. Words to fit every situation, good or bad. Words to ease the heart and mind in every circumstance. The words they offered to the king were, quote, this too shall pass, unquote. Century after century, this old legend has survived. Whether or not the motto was invented for a troubled king, no one really knows. But this much is certain. The words are wise and true and endlessly enduring. They have proved their power down through the ages to uncounted men and women in every land and every conceivable situation. These magic words will give comfort to the afflicted, courage to the frightened, and hope to the depressed as we climb the ladder of success and encounter life's tougher moments. We can find solace in these words of wisdom. This too shall pass. Today I can overcome any difficulty. Come what may, I know this too shall pass. That is our reading for today from Daily Motivations for African American Success. So fitting in terms of those words, that hey, whatever it is that you've been going through, this too shall pass. And knowing how to be able to say that, and also learning how that if you focus on problems, your mind's like a magnet. If you focus on problems, you will attract problems.
That's right.
If you focus on blessings, you will attract blessings. And so you want to keep that in mind, listening audience. Focus on blessings, not problems.
That's right.
And so at this point, I'm going to turn this podcast over to Brother Henri Hector, who is going to introduce our guest for the night. And then I'm going to sit back and listen.
All right. Thank you, Mrs. Satawi. Welcome, everybody. My name is Henri Hector, and welcome. For those of you who are listening in Facebook Live, on YouTube, Instagram, I am Henri Hector, and welcome. Today's situation is dealing with a precedented situation that's been talked about for quite some time throughout our community, especially here in Baltimore. We have been dealing with crime after crime, We're dealing with all types of situations that need answers. We need something that can solve the community's issues. And tonight I have a guest, a longtime friend of mine from Baltimore, Maryland. He is a good gentleman, and I like to talk about him for a little bit. He's also the co-founder and CEO of Engage Baltimore, an organization dedicated to providing conflict resolution-based services that strengthen families to enhance the community. Before devoting the focus to Engage Baltimore, this gentleman served in various capacities within alternative dispute resolution and nonprofit sectors, including executive management, conflict for community-based nonprofit, the City of Baltimore, and youth development agencies. This gentleman has experienced mediating over 500 cases in a variety of different focus areas, such as including focusing on children, separation, divorce, reentry, mediation, substance abuse, veteran, military, police, compliance, all sorts of sectors of mediation. This gentleman is a good friend of mine. I'd like to welcome aboard the show CEO, founder of Engage Baltimore, Mr. Brandon Booth. Welcome aboard, Brandon.
Thank you for having me, Hudson, and thank you for having me, fellow soldiers. It's good to be here tonight.
So tonight's topic is definitely something that is a long time, conflict resolution. And I would just like to have the people get to know who you are. Would you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely. Well, I'm from Baltimore, Maryland. Attended Friends School for high school and then attended Morgan State University for college. And then after that, I really kind of got involved in community work and community service. And so in my heart, I'm a servant. I love serving the community and serving the brothers and sisters within my community. Particularly, I like to see strong families, because I believe if you have a strong family and you have a group of strong families, then you have a strong community.
Exactly.
And so that's what led me to conflict resolution and restorative practices, that type of work. And really, since I've been in this field, I just got more and more of a passion for conflict resolution. A lot of things are going on in our city right now. As all of you all know, it's a lot of violence going on. There's a lot of misunderstanding between people groups within the community. And so I feel like right now, conflict resolution is needed more than ever, and better understanding is needed more than ever. And so part of my skill set is just to help families, help individuals find different ways to communicate more effectively, and then on a little bit larger level, be able to strengthen families and strengthen those bonds of communication between families, so that the things that are important to, whether it's a husband, a wife, children, the things that are important to each other, those things come out. And so families can achieve what they want and achieve their values in this society right now. And so I'm excited to be here tonight, and it's definitely a pertinent topic for what's going on in our city right now.
That is true. How did Engage Baltimore come about?
So Engage Baltimore was actually co-founded by me and two other gentlemen. And it actually started off about 5 or 6 years ago as a creation. Really, God birthed it through us, but we were sitting in my living room one time, and we just noticed that there were a lot of youth, particularly young men, young boys within our city that were underserved. For various reasons, either the education systems that they were in, they weren't connecting with them on a proper level, or they were dealing with life situations that were a little bit more mature than their age, and it was forcing them to need to develop some additional skills to be able to handle life in this city. And so Engage Baltimore actually started off as a youth development and a mentoring organization. And we served in a few of the schools in West Baltimore. We had a mentoring program called I'm Accountable. We did some great work with that program, particularly at Stewart Hill Academy. And from that point, I got to the point where I actually started devoting my full focus to conflict resolution and alternative dispute resolution. So I began working my way up in that field. I became an executive director of a conflict resolution center in Anne Arundel County that served all of Anne Arundel County and Annapolis while still doing conflict resolution work within the city. And so, I kind of got very, very involved from a personal level within conflict resolution for a few years. And so Engage Baltimore kind of had to take a little bit of a hiatus. But now with everything going on in the city, and with me knowing that God is kind of pressing me to really focus back on this, now I'm rebranding the organization to focus on conflict resolution, strengthening families, strengthening communities, and working on giving people the communication skills and access to those skills that can help them resolve conflicts at home, at school, in the community, or even in the workplace. So it's kind of went over a rebranding over the last year or so, and now God's really been pressing on me to devote my full time to this. So
Awesome. That is amazing. Thank you very much. Mr. David Murphy, we thank you for just allowing Mr. Brandon Booth to come aboard. And is there anything you would like to add?
Oh, sure, of course. You know, there's a lot. I was just, lately, I put, I published a paper called the National Black Unity News, and we try to provide solution-oriented information in the publication because everybody else is dealing with problems. So we try to step outside the box. But, just today, I was sitting here in my office and turned on the news. And it showed that a 73-year-old woman got shot.
It's a shame, man.
And then they showed
It's
then they say some kind of car accident. 2 or 3 children got ran over.
Yeah, I heard about that. The 6-year-old died.
Yeah. Yeah, and then it was just going on, and this young lady got killed, and they just call, all of this stuff is going on. So you got a city, and Baltimore is known for murder. They call it the murder capital of the United States, and but in any given situation in life, if you put a bunch of people in a certain condition in life, it may turn out to the survival of the fittest, or just plain out survival. And just me speaking, but I believe God put everybody on this earth for a reason and a purpose, and that we all, we may end up a certain type of way. As life goes on, we have a different mindset, or because of our environment and things like that. Right. But I think inherently we all are good people, and we want just to do good for ourselves and survive for our families. But there's a saying: hurting people hurts people.
Hurt people. Well said.
And with that being said, there's a lot of hurting people in Baltimore. There's a lot of problems in Baltimore. And sometimes understanding is a powerful tool sometimes. Just to understand. And I had to, just before I get into my real question to you, is this. I commend you, sir, for just being in that field because, see, the field that you in, I know can save people's lives.
Absolutely.
It can prevent people from hurting people, and it can prevent people from going from one end to the one extreme to the other. But and I know you said you did this and you did that, but like I say, on this show, my brothers in arms will tell you, Henri, Hector, and Satai, we have a little saying, we keep it real.
That's right. All day, you heard
it. I hear that.
All day.
Yeah. And so let me ask you this, brother.
Mm-hmm.
For all the things that you could be doing, all the things that you could make money on or chosen field of things, why conflict resolution?
That's a great question. That's an awesome question, and I'll keep it 100% real with you. Growing up in the city, particularly in West Baltimore, I saw a lot of things. You know, I saw death, I saw violence, I saw a lot of people that I was either friends with or grew up with that either aren't here right now or they're not with us because they're doing hard time. And even as a person that had access to great education and I went to Morgan State University for a period, I even became, if you want to say, a person that befell some of the situations that can occur with young men and women in our city. And I was actually incarcerated for a period of time.
Okay.
And I was a young, yeah. So, and I was a young man. I was a young man when that happened. I was actually only 21 years old. And during that time, as I was searching for my direction and my purpose, it became clear to me that I needed to not just give back to the community, but I really needed that my purpose was going to be found in how I served my community and how I connected with my community. And so I was blessed because I'm good with my words. I'm good with presenting myself. I was blessed with the opportunity to go through a program when I came home that's called the AmeriCorps program. And that program gave me the opportunity to serve for 11 months at the Community Mediation Center in Baltimore City, right up on Green Mountain 33rd. Mm-hmm. And serving at that center, I began to connect with a lot of different organizations in our community that were doing great work. And I began to really get a better understanding of what mediation and conflict resolution was. As a young man, I thought that mediation and conflict resolution was people that looked like hippies that sat around smoking and doing these peace chants and all that sort of stuff. I'll be honest with you. Mm-hmm. But when I really got into the nitty gritty of it, and when I really started serving through the AmeriCorps program through community mediation, I found out that it's really about enhancing communication and building bridges and really saving lives. And so through that program, I began to get more of a passion for conflict resolution and for just seeing how powerful of a tool it was to save lives. And so once I got connected to that program, as I worked there and served there, they started developing different initiatives, whether it was the police complaint mediation program to help the community deal with a lot of stigmas and heal from a lot of the things that happened with police brutality in the city. But then also as well, that program, the young lady that trained me as a mediator, Erica Bridgeford, ended up becoming the founder and the co-founder for the ceasefire movement. Mm-hmm. And that movement is doing a lot of great work in the city right now, bringing healing, bringing life-affirming activities a few times a year, not just through different events, but really connecting the community so that we don't always, while we honor those that lost their lives, and she does that, and her team does that through sacred space rituals, and by just highlighting each life that we lose. During the ceasefire weekend, they also do a great job of promoting life and promoting healing and promoting better understanding and promoting better communication and promoting those things that will allow us to heal as a community. And so just being my time at the Community Mediation Center, it really kind of birthed a passion in me to want to do more. And so from that, I began working in schools with conflict resolution. I did training programs with middle school students that other people would consider students that are at risk or students that we can't deal with these students in a normal classroom setting because of this issue, because of that issue. And then when I tied it into my mentoring, I started to see that some of the children that were in my mentoring program were some of the brightest students at that school or some of the brightest students in the city. The issue wasn't their capacity to learn. Their issue was dealing with situations at home that were beyond what a 11 or a 12 or a 13-year-old should be able to deal with, you know? And so mentoring, working at community mediation, and then just kind of progressing into some of the community-oriented work, it gave me a passion, and it just furthered my passion for conflict resolution. But as I saw some of the different initiatives,
Bill Gooden.
They were working great. They were working great. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but let me say this to you. You know, like I say, I came. I'm 68 years old. I'm not bragging, but I survived. And I came up on the rough side of the mountain. I've seen a lot of things in my day, in my time. I've seen brothers hurt each other over the simplest things, kill each other. Yep. And then I've seen people, because of simulation, or what you might say gang related, or you might say because I'm with you, I'm against them, and then people had this kind of thing, what they call a mindset. Us against them, we against those, and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
But what do you think, from your perspective, is the right time to teach people about conflict mediation or conflict? To talk to people before they get into a certain situation.
Right. Well, to be truthfully honest, from a Baltimore City and a holistic standpoint, we need to be teaching it to our children as young as pre-K.
I agree.
What I've found is that as we get to become high school age children, and then we progress and we become adults, we're very set in our ways. And unfortunately, Baltimore City is a city where at an early age, you see a lot of trauma. You deal with a lot of trauma. It's nothing for some of us to see a dead body. It's nothing for some of us to have family members that were here with us a couple of weeks ago and now they're gone. I don't know if you guys heard about the young lady that was a business owner over in East Baltimore, down the hill, 21 years old, doing everything right. And unfortunately now she lost her life.
Yeah, I heard about that.
And and those sorts of things, unfortunately, are very commonplace in our city.
And
so,
their kids behind.
To be honest, exactly. And so, to be honest, we have to get people as young as 5, 6, pre-K age, kindergarten age, teaching them the skills to be able to communicate their emotions, teaching them the skills to be able to communicate, this is what I value and this is why this is important to me. Because once you get to that point where you're a full-grown adult and your brain is fully formed, you're very set in your ways. And so the first piece is getting our children those skills at a young age. So now, unfortunately, we have a whole generation of people that are grown now, and they still don't really know how to communicate effectively. They still don't know how to communicate, this is what's important to me, and this is what I feel. And so what we have to do for them before they pick up a gun, before they decide that they want to go in the community and either join a gang or do something that's going to cost them some time off their lives, we really need to reach them. We really need to have intensive programs set up to be able to give these young men and women the skills that they need to communicate effectively within the community.
That's right.
Because unfortunately what happens is people can't communicate their emotions, and they can't communicate what they feel, and they can't communicate, more importantly, what they value. And if you can't communicate what you value, no one else is going to understand what you value.
Nobody else is going to understand.
And so that's where misunderstandings come from, And so we got to get our youth while they're young. And if they are fully grown, and let's say they are adults, then what we really need to do is do a better job of connecting our young men and our women, or even in some cases, our middle-aged men and women, to programs and to trainings, whether it's workforce development, whether it's, different training programs that can help give them the skills that they need to communicate, not just in the community, but at home as well.
That's right.
A lot of disagreements between parents and between their teenagers happen because both the parent and the teenager can't communicate what they value.
That's
And
right.
so now y'all are in a disagreement over something as simple as household chores, when in actuality, it shouldn't be a difficult conversation to have. And so we need to teach our children these skills at a young age. And if they haven't been taught these skills, we need to do our best to identify those people, those youth, those young adults, so that we can get them these skills before they become statistics or before they end up doing something like, unfortunately, what happened to the young lady that was the business owner of the hair shop in East Baltimore. Because we got to stop. We got to stop with the killing, man. There's too many bright lights being snuffed out.
For real.
Now, one of the things that that we need to look at, and I like what you said, Mr. Booth. And I was sitting up here reading your bio. Okay, so we see that you're dealing with 500 plus cases in a variety of different focus areas, and one of those things is family, children. Now let's focus on the family for a second, because we all understand that it all starts in the home. Okay, by the time a child is born, statistically speaking, by the time a child is born, all the way up to 7 years old, there's this thing called theta. And theta is the visual comprehension that a child is receiving by their sight. They're looking in at this presentation, that it all starts with the family. So whatever you show your children, that's what they're going to pick up. If you argue with one another, that's what they're going to get. If you're introducing to them a particular type of lifestyle, that's what they're going to grow up in. And unfortunately, when we look at the statistic of a child and where it came from, it goes back to that home, that family. So now we need to focus on the family. What's really going on? Are they getting that proper education? How to raise up a child? How to deal with anger management? How to deal with certain issues? Because the child is soaking this up, and they grow up emulating what we as parents show them. I was looking at a situation, and I was talking to somebody, and they asked me, what do you think the problem is? Do you think we need to build more community centers where, they could get the help and go so the kids can go to these community centers and get the help that they need? I said, ain't no use. There's no thing of building a community center. That's useless. And the reason why is because first you got to get these parents on board to force these children to go.
Well said, Mr. Hector.
I don't care how many community centers you build. I don't care how many basketball courts you build. If you're not getting these parents on board to get these children where they need to go, personally, you're wasting your money and you're wasting your time. It all starts at the home. What is going on in the home? I remember when I was young, I was taken away from my mother at 12, and I'm not going to go into that. However, but I lived a life where I didn't have much boundaries. There were times where my mother didn't know where I was at. There were times where I got to certain things. If I had that family structure, a father and a mother, and it all starts right there. We have kids having kids. Nobody's taking accountability. Grandma's raising the kid while her child is out there doing whatever she wants to do. I'm going to keep it real because this is what this show is all about. Keep it real.
Well said.
We got to keep it real. When I look at these statistics in Baltimore, it sickens me. It sickens me. Okay? It really does.
Well, let me say this to you, brother. Go ahead, Bill.
Yeah, let me just say this. First and foremost, let me just say hello to everybody.
Hello.
And then secondly, I'm in the same age group as David Murphy. So I just want to say, on the serious side, man, I'm proud of you younger brothers that's, trying to step up, trying to do the right thing. But my thing is this, man. Listening to the conversation, I'm going to say this. Nobody is wrong because there's not no one solution in terms of fixing the problems that we got. And the reason it's not no one solution is because we got a whole plethora of situations and circumstances. I mean, again, when David said he's 68, I'm 67, I'm going to just give you a classic example. When I was growing up, hand to God, then I would know everybody by name on my block, the parents and the children. But we don't have that today. We don't have the communities that we used to have, right? So a lot's been took away from us, even in terms of, and let me also say this. The bottom line is that nobody gonna fix whatever our situation is but us, because a lot of people is after us that we don't even know that's after us. Even when we deal with television, you know what I'm saying? It may not be a big thing to some people because we just grow up in the town that we grow up in, but when you got 100 channels and children can look at some of everything, you know what I'm saying? And even in terms of just their music that they like, and hell, if I was growing up today, I probably would like the same music too. But when you listen to stuff saying, got my finger on my trigger, gonna kill me, and nigga got my bitch in the alley. I mean, listen, man. No.
Truth,
You know what I mean? Stuff, that stuff,
That's
you
real.
internalize
That's
that
real.
stuff.
Man.
You see
That's
what I'm
real.
saying? So, we don't have the same school systems we used to have. Talking about growing up, man, listen, I would go to school, and if you act up, then, hey, you had people in that school that tell you come up in front of the class and you bend over and they straighten you up. But it wasn't abuse, it was discipline. But nowadays, all that stuff is off the table. So I'm saying a lot's been took away from us that can help us to become better people. And I ultimately think this. I agree in terms of family play a big part, but we have to have strong Black units, man. In these communities that's totally devastated, we have to have Black units, and we have to have somebody on the block that can pull the people together on the block, you know what I'm saying, to make sure that we organize to save the particular neighborhood that we in.
That's right. I like what you said because.
Can I speak on that? Go ahead, Mr. Hector. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. And that's correct. We have to have strong Black units on the streets. What are the strong Black units? They're all over the city. As well as crime is all over the city, so is good Black units are all over the city doing great things, such as Mr. Brandon Booth, myself, and I'm just referring to the younger people. And then we have Mr. David Murphy. We have his constituents. They're all out here making a difference. However,
Right.
we have to let these people be accountable. And accountability isn't accountability unless somebody's being accountable for something. We have to pull them up. I pulled up a young man a while back. He had his pants hanging off his butt. And I walked up to him and I said, "Sir, why is your pants hanging off your butt?" And he said, "This is just the style. This is what I do." I said, "Well, let me give you some education." And I took him back to time of racism, back when they were the Black people were picking in the cotton fields, and there was this this saying called what was it called? I can't remember the terminology that was used. Back breaking. It's called buck breaking. Buck breaking. Buck breaking.
Yeah.
There it is. Buck breaking. And I asked him, "Do you know what that is?" And he says, "No." I said, "Let me explain it to you. Every Black community, there's a strong alpha male. And what happens is they took that male and they took him out in the community where all the other Blacks could see, and they used to rape him and beat him down and disgrade him as a Black man, and it made him wear his pants hanging off his butt to let them know and have it set an example. And if these people were able to break him, they could break everybody else because they looked to him." And I said, "You need to pull up your pants." And he pulled them up immediately, and he thanked me for that. We have to be able to have a direct a say to the young people. Let them know and let them take accountability. Talk to them, let them know. Some of these people might not be educated. So we got to set the example. Not only set the example, but be the example.
That's right.
Be the example.
That's the biggest piece.
That's the biggest piece.
Let me say this. I'm going to bring my brother in here because, I met this gentleman, me and Brother Satavi go a long way back. And I'm so proud of the fact that when I met this brother, that he was working with young people. He even worked with my own children. And he had a lot of experience with young people back in the day. And so, Satavi, I want you to jump in, man, and explain to us, man, how you dealt with young people at that early age set to try to set their mindset straight.
Well, appreciating what you said, David, and if I understand you correctly, the process is being able to take young people through rituals that reinforce community development. So that was the essence of what our program really was about. I mean, we had something that was called a unity circle. And every day we read from Daily Motivations for African American Success. We called that process the thought of the day. Then we had something that we have them recite. And it went like, I feel good about myself. I feel good about the people around me. I feel goodness all around me.
Amen. Amen.
And it will follow me for the rest of my life. Because I walk with good. And I talk with good. And I am good. And that feels real good. Good, better, best.
That's right.
I like that.
Good, better,
I like
best.
that too.
Never let it rest. To your good is your better, and your better is your best. You can do it. You can do it if you just stick to it. Every day and every way, I'm getting better, better, and better. And so that was part of the process. And then we also had the Nguzo Saba that we would go through each day, as far as the 7 principles that we just finished highlighting during the week of Kwanzaa. And so, so the thing is, we created rituals that had children feeling good about themselves and feeling good about the people that was around them. See, when you don't feel good, when you, like Bill was saying, when you have stuff you reciting, I'm gonna clock that nigga. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. You know what I mean? Then you end up you gotta act.
You end up clocking. That's what you end up doing.
Right.
That's right.
Right.
Keep it real. That's
I
it.
never forget one time
That's 100% real.
We had a young man who, when he first came to us, he used to get in fights every day, and I never forget one day he came in, and he was chilling, and I asked him, what's going on, Wayne? He said, Mr. Jais, I had an experience today. I said, what was that? He said, so this young man, got all up in my face. And he said, I told him, I said, you know what? He said, the older Dwayne would have been and whipped your ass. Said, but the new Dwayne gonna pray. The new Dwayne is gonna pray for you.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
and
powerful.
so
It is powerful.
At age 12, as opposed to letting somebody provoke him into violence, he told him, said, brother, I'm gonna pray for you.
That's powerful.
And just think if we had more people that was, indoctrinated that way at an early age about praying for people when people confront them with something. So, that was the essence of what we did. There was rituals that we had, and we tried to create a loving environment. We made sure that we served food every day. We had pizza parties and roller skating.
Wow.
We did barbecue chicken. We had our own trail. We would take children out into nature and we'd do nature walks and go on the Wind Falls Trail. So, there was a lot that we had going on in the program that helped reinforce the values that we wanted young people to embrace.
Well, let me say this, gentlemen. Let me say, see, this is what I love about just gentlemen, people talking, communicating with one another. See, Bill mentioned back in the day when we was coming, and he's 100% right, because I can walk off my steps, have a baseball glove in one hand and a bat in the other hand. Do you know 18 children would come together, we would have a full, and then 7 or 8 children be sitting on the side mad because they couldn't get in the game. Just like not organized. I mean, that's just the way it was back in the day. And everybody knew each other. I had to go 5 or 6 blocks away to do some dirt before my mother and father wouldn't know about it. And like I say, it takes a village. But like I say, but like my brother Satami said, because you have to get indoctrinated young. And my brother just spoke about it. He said, you got to get them when they're young.
You got to get them when they're young.
You got to get them when they're young. And so, since we said, but we also know one thing. Let's be, like I say, we keep it real on here. The truth is this. There's a pipeline, they say, from school to prison.
Well said.
For the black community. and it's real. Some things, man, is being orchestrated against us. And I'm not one of them theorists, theories and all that kind of, but facts are facts. But like Bill said, it's up to us to change our own community.
Mr. David Murphy.
We the ones going to have to make the difference. And so, brother, I want you to say this because you're the expert in this field. And so, what do you suggest for us as a black community? I ain't talking about a larger community. I'm talking about the black community. What do you suggest we do so that we can correct some of these wrongs?
That's a loaded question.
I know it is. That's where I come.
Absolutely. I'll say that I love this discussion, man. This is awesome. I love chopping it up. The first thing is we have to take back our communities. If we want to keep it real and keep it 100, excuse me, a lot of our communities are out of control right now. And the reason why is because the men aren't taking their rightful place in their role within these communities so that we can hold the people within our black community accountable for their behavior.
That's right.
Accountable for being good fathers, accountable for being good mothers, accountable for making sure that Ray and Twan and Lil Daquan aren't outside running amok and doing whatever they want to do.
That's right.
So it all starts in the home, like Mr. Hector said. I think we have to do a better job of being parents. Now, the good thing is you got some great organizations. It's a brother from the village named Shelly Stevens, and he's really promoting positive black fatherhood in the community. Matthew Pressbury. He just got a foundation called the Black Fathers Foundation, where you got thousands, hundreds of thousands of fathers from all over, not just Baltimore, but Maryland, New York, Philly, Boston, Atlanta, Cali, the Midwest. You got all of these black fathers that now we have organizations out there that are changing the narrative. So it all starts with being in the home and being good parents, being good fathers, especially for us as black men. I feel like the most powerful thing you can do as a black man is raise another strong black man.
That is
because
right.
so many of us didn't have fathers in our home to teach us not just right from wrong, but teach us how to be a man.
How to be a man.
Teach us how to treat a woman.
Right.
Teach us how to treat your daughter. Going out on dates with your daughter so that when she gets older, she's not accepting BS and all this crap that you hear on these videos and in this music, So it all starts in the home, like Mr. Hector said, being accountable, being good fathers, being good black fathers, which there are a lot of organizations out there. Like I said, Black Fathers Foundation, and Shelly Stevens, he has an organization that's promoting fatherhood. So it starts with being fathers in our home. But taking it a step further, one thing that I noticed about Baltimore City, we sit there and we say, oh, this violence is crazy. Oh, these people is out of hand. Oh, it's ratchet out here. Well, what are you doing to change the narrative?
Exactly.
What time are you volunteering with an organization that's grassroots, that's doing work out here? What time are you taking outside of your work day, outside of your business, outside of your family to ensure that the kid that lives down the block from you or on Fulton or on Bentlow or on Milton is getting the love that they might need because they're not getting it at home.
That's right.
And so I would say it doesn't just start, it starts with the home and us being accountable fathers and being accountable to our women and accountable to our daughters. But we got to take it a step further. Baltimore is in a crisis mode. We all should be dedicating at least 1 hour a week to the betterment of our community, whether it's cleaning up your community that you live in, whether it's getting a better understanding of some of the youth in your community that don't have the resources or access to the resources they might need at home. Be that man that steps up and that's accountable and take some time with that young brother, like Mr. Hector said, and like Mr. Bill said, and like my man that had the program, to give them that wisdom. Because if you keep all the wisdom for yourself and you die with that wisdom,
that's it.
Who did you benefit?
Nothing.
Who did you benefit?
Whoa,
You know,
whoa.
I let everybody else
dead man
talk,
tell no
but
lies.
those are two things that's most important for me. Stepping up and being good fathers,
Tell no
which
tales.
we're changing the narrative. There's some great black fathers out there, some great organizations.
And you're right.
But,
Let me say this to you. Let me just jump in right here. Now, because like I say, now we identify some problems in our communities. And, you know, like I say, but we also kind of discuss some solutions to the problems as well.
Absolutely.
You know, we talked about it yesterday and today. And we also know it's a concerted effort to keep us to a certain level. But like you said, we also identify the fact that black men need to step up as well. Because we the head of households and we the head of our communities, and we need to step up. Now, Mr. Bill Gooden and I, Bill Gooden, he's the one that initiated. We started a program called Black Men Unifying Black Men. And we meet, and this is will be our, what is it, 57th bill?
No, I think 59th, but we're going on 6 years.
Yeah, going on 6 years now. And we have a breakfast every first Saturday of the month. But we won't have on this one, but our next one, because this Martin Luther King thing we do, is going to be on the 18th.
And I'm going to try to come to that breakfast too. I've been meaning.
I want you to. That's why I'm saying this, because I want y'all brothers to come. I want y'all brothers to come out to this.
Brandon Booth, we got to make it our business to come out to this breakfast.
And not only that. Because me and Bill also, we publish a newspaper called the National Black Unity News. And and we're the #1 black newspaper in the nation.
Outstanding.
But see, because communication is a powerful thing. See, what we're doing right now is communicating. And when we communicate, see, everybody had some input into this conversation.
Right.
And what we're saying is everything I heard is right down to the point. It's not one solution, but it like I say, it takes a village.
It takes a village.
It's a holistic approach.
I wanted to say something. Real quick. We don't want this to be a cultural type of thing in the city of Baltimore, because now it's becoming a cultural thing. Baltimore is infamous for a significantly high crime rate, including violent crime rate that ranks high above the national average. Violent crime spiked in 2015, if you remember, after the death of Freddie Gray on April 19th, which touched off riots and increased murders. The city has recorded a total of 348 homicides in 2019. That's high. A number second, only to the number records in 1993, when the population was nearly 125,000. We cannot allow this thing to be a cultural thing. We have to change the atmosphere. We have to change the culture of our community. And one of the things, and we all have said it, and it starts with God. That's #1. It starts with having a relationship with the Lord. And those of you who are firm and gripped, we need to get out there and set the example and set the bar high and hold every black man accountable. I told you before, accountability is not accountability until somebody's being accountable. I'm accountable. You are accountable. And we're all a part of this thing. We're all a part of it. Nobody's excluded from it. We need to set the example.
Right.
Go ahead.
Again, every time I get ready to say something, but first I just want to continue to say, man, listen, I thank everybody for whatever they do, because everybody is needed. It's like the 20th of this month, Dr. Bunley now is trying to have 1,000 black men to participate in marching in the Dr. King parade.
Right.
Okay.
So, I just want to put that out there for everybody to pass the word on that, because, that's another show of force in terms of black men being united and marching down the street, in a united fashion. But I guess to a certain extent, I know we have to offer solutions. At the same time, we have to identify the issues. Because when we talk about Baltimore, I always say this, man. We talk about Baltimore because that's where we at. all across this country in urban America, we catching the same kind of hell at the same kind of time. The thing that's happening in the school system here is happening in the school system in St. Louis, in Detroit, in Chicago, and across this country. You know what I'm saying? St. Louis have a lesser population than Baltimore, but in one sense, they have just as many murders as we have here in Baltimore, right? So I'm saying them things because I know them things. Then the other thing is this. You know, again, you know, we have to change the narrative, like everybody's saying. But at the same time, man, we have to constantly got the breakdown of this here system. You know what I'm saying? I mean, all these drugs and guns that we have is not here by mistake. You know what I'm saying? Right. And if these people didn't want these drugs and guns out here, trust me, they wouldn't be out here. You know, so you know, we have to just look now at the breakdown. And I talk about, and David, you know, I always talk about this, and I hadn't heard nobody address this tonight. The whole revolution in terms of technology. There's going to be a lot of people working today that's not going to have skills for next year because technology is going to take their jobs. You see what I'm saying? And, you know, so in one sense, you increase what we're working against because those who really rule everything don't give a damn about poor people and black people. And ultimately, they have an agenda to depopulate the population of the world. You see what I'm saying? That's so right. I'm saying all I have to say that we have to save ourselves, but we have to also know what we're up against. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not no one thing we're up against. We're up against a whole lot of different things, man. And even when we talk about God, you know, the good thing about the Creator is this, is that we always have to know that the Creator ultimately got control to do whatever's gonna happen. But I'm saying, look, just look, and let me just close with this. Even in terms of, you look at TV today, man, and you know, and I know we hadn't really discussed it, but when I say the breakdown of the system, then you look at these commercials, and now you can see two men hugged up on a couch, or you can see two men on TV in a movie kissing each other. You know, so when you got children 5 years old looking at that kind of stuff, then you send that kind of behavior to them because they're going to think that's natural because that's what they grow up into. Just like you have a lot of people think that violence is natural because that's what they grow up into. That's right. So I'm saying we got all them things, man, that we have to fight against. And all of us have to have a responsibility when we talk about in your lane. You have to fight from where you are and what you understand to try to create the change that you can.
And I agree with you. And what I was going to say is this. You know, me and Bill published a newspaper called the National Black Unity News. And one of our goals is to bring positive information, solution-oriented information to our people, not only here locally, but nationwide. And so I'm encouraging you, brothers. You know, if y'all know some organizations and businesses or services that have a solution, then we need to unite because people need to know about it. Now, you mentioned several organizations, brother, that out here doing something.
Yeah, he needs to mention them again.
So you mentioned all the CBC because a lot of people not aware of them. The people that some of the people that really need these services, not aware. So since we're in the communication business, then that's our job. So we need to be connected. And so so you need to be that conduit to connect everybody, you know. And so that, like I say, because communication is powerful, and at the same time, it's life-saving.
That's right.
It's life-altering.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, go to you, brother. Go ahead.
I would like for Mr.
That's one of the most powerful tools we have. Well said.
Yeah, I need you to give us a few resources to the community out there, Facebook. Everybody's listening live right now. We need to hear some of these the resources that you give us some resources.
Got you. So the first one I'm going to give you is for Black fathers. It's on Facebook, and they've actually made this into an actual foundation, a legitimate Black-owned, Black-run, a young man from Baltimore named Matt Pressberry. The group is about 60 or 70,000 strong now. If you go onto your Facebook page and just simply type in Black Fathers, I'm sure it's the first group that's going to come up. What they do, they have tools, resources, and like my brother Mr. Davis said, it's a communication forum for Black men to address issues that we go through as parents. So stuff as simple as how to deal with my child's mother so that we can alleviate some stress and drama on our children, to stuff as complex as my child is thinking about committing suicide. What do I do?
Right.
So that page is called Black Fathers. There's another page, and it's called Our Children Need Their Dads. The word there is THEIR. That page is moderated and was founded by a young man from Evanston Village who does great work in the community. His name is Shelly Stevens. Not only does he have that page, he has another organization called Shelly's Helping Hands. That organization helps homeless people in our city, helps underserved families in our city, helps connect them with resources, whether it's clothes, whether it's food,
Awesome.
whether it's he does a book drive. So Our Children Need Their Dads and Shelly's Helping Hands. I'll briefly promote my humble, growing but still very humble and small page on Facebook. It's called Engage Baltimore. All I've done with that page, like Mr. Davis said, when I was a young man, I got incarcerated at 21, but I realized at that time how powerful communication was. And my communication abilities have helped me turn my life around. Awesome. And have helped me provide for my family. And all I do with Engage Baltimore is connect people with resources and organizations and information to keep you updated on what's out here in the community, what's going on in the community, some of these crooked and corrupt politicians, and then some of these real politicians that are really serving the people. I try to keep you connected and updated and on point with what's going on so that we can communicate not just resources, but some of the information that we need to know as Black people and really just as a community to make informed decisions.
All right. Well, gentlemen, let me say we coming close to the end of the hour. And this has been a very spirited and informative conversation. And I thank you, my brother, for your input. And I want you to come back because we need to talk about this a little bit more. You know, and
for sure.
Like I say,
and I'm gonna commit to make sure that I start coming to some of the events that you guys have through Black Men Unifying Black Men, because that's outstanding.
Okay, great. And also, you know, like I say, now we also represent a publication called the National Black Unity News, and you can reach us at the tnbun.com. And also, we have a National Black Business Directory at tnbundirectory.com. And the purpose of this podcast is this. We try to bring solutions, but we like I said, as I always say, we keep it real. And you know, because you know, when we talk about certain things, you know, you never know who's going to listen in. You never know who may life may be altered or even saved by this conversation. Because there's some powerful, and this I do know, some powerful brothers on this call right now who have dedicated their lives to serving. And so, again, brother, we truly appreciate you for you taking your time to be with us this evening. And we don't want you to be no stranger. We want you to keep tuning in because you have valuable information. That I mean, we here every Monday at 7:30. So you know, don't be no stranger. You ain't got to be the special guest, but you can be a participant because, like I said, you have solution-oriented information, and we just keep it real like that. And to my brothers, brother Andre Hector, to brother Satavi Jahi, my partner Bill Gooden, and myself, we truly appreciate you, brother.
Definitely appreciate you.
And but this in closing. because we at 8:30. I mean 8:30 right now. And like I said, we control our own time, so that's not a real big issue. But because like I say, tomorrow when I slice it up and add all the bells and whistles to it, we will send you a copy of it. But again, it takes a village. We are a village, and we soldiers in the army. They're trying to make better changes for our communities, and like I say, people are out here dying every day, and we got to connect. We got to unify. And I'm gonna make sure that you two brothers, man, come out to our breakfast. This upcoming on the 18th.
Thank you.
Because
Thank you.
like I say, connection is about unifying, and even the National Black Unity News came from out of that breakfast, and even this podcast came from out of that breakfast. To be honest with you. And so, so it's a lot. We don't have what you call, some people say, what's your agenda? No, our sole purpose is just to meet one another so we can talk to one another, share information with one another. And so, and we've been doing it, like the Bill said, for about going on 6 years now. And so, brothers, I thank you all for being on this podcast. I have much love and respect. And for the last couple of minutes, I'm gonna do a little round robin. And started with our special guest. Can you give out your information, how people can contact you, sir?
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So in terms of if you want to contact me through email, my email address is Brandon Booth, all one word, the number 1986 at gmail.com. If you want to reach me on Facebook, like I said, you can just simply type in Engage Baltimore, send the page a request, and then you can direct message me, or you can send me a message as needed. And then if you just need to talk, man, and you just need to chop it up, or you're looking for additional resources, like Mr. Dave said, I am a connector. That's one of my gifts of service, is that I connect people. You can also get my number, man. It's 443-572-1224.
Can you say that number one more time?
Sure. 443-572-1224. I forgot about one outstanding organization that I really want to mention here tonight. It's a free resource for the community, not just in Baltimore City, but in 19 counties in Maryland. It's called Community Mediation Maryland. What I encourage anybody that's going through a separation or divorce to do is to go through that organization so that you can have free mediation services and come up with the child access and child custody plan and have it look how you want it to look, instead of having the courts decide for you and dictate to you, this is what it's going to look like. You can go through Community Mediation Maryland in one of 19 counties, and you can actually get free parenting plan mediation to come up with a parenting plan to effectively co-parent. Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right, thank you. My partner, Mr. Satabi Jahi, you want to get out some information, sir?
Yes, sir. People can reach me at 252-458-3712. And our website is www.movements, MOVEMENTS, Unlimited, UNLIMITED.net, NET. You can go there and you can find out all you need to find out about Movements Unlimited. Again, hey, it's been a great podcast. Look forward to us broadcasting next week. And as Bill said, unity is the solution. And as Elijah Muhammad used to say, our unity is more powerful than an atomic bomb.
All right. Okay. And also, my other partner, my main man, Mr. Andre Hector. Give out your information, sir.
Yes, sir. This is Mr. Hector, radio personality and motivational speaker, the inspiration station from the Andre Hector Show. You can reach me at my website is www.movements, Henri Hector. That's spelled ONRIHECTOR.com. You can click on there, check out my website. All the information you need. I'm on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. Call me at 410-200-9347.
Thank you, sir. And this is yours truly, David Murphy, publisher of the National Black Unity News. And I can be reached at 443-455-2373. Again, that's David Murphy, publisher of the National Black Unity News, 443-455-2373. And I'm going to say this in parting. As we close out, I want to thank all of our participants this evening, because like I said, this is unity 101, when brothers can come together and talk about issues, and not only talk about the issues, but talk about the solutions to our issues. And so you keep looking up, keep looking for. Here we are in the brand new year, brand new decade, 2020. So we have a new vision, 2020. And so I thank God, because we made it through another decade, another year. And but we got work to do, brothers, and let's just do it. We can talk about it, but it's also we have to put it in the work. Thank you.
Thank you.
And the podcast is now closed.
This is Henri Hector from the Henri Hector Show. Everybody, please enjoy your night, and remember to continue to check on my website at www.henrihector.com. You can check out all the updates and listings. Even by the end of the week, I'm going to have an editing version of this particular podcast. You can check it out by the end of the week. I'll have it posted. You can go on YouTube, and you can check it out there at the Henri Hector Show on YouTube. Please subscribe. Thank you. God bless you. Happy New Year. Good night.